Section 9.5 is entitled Systems in Matrix Form. A matrix is just a rectangle of numbers. Usually those numbers stand for something and represent something, and then we can use those matrices to solve later on. But all we're going to do today is going to be easy. Relax. Here we go. So the first step is just to recognize, well, what is a matrix? How can we take the numbers from a system of equations and put them into a matrix form? And we call this an augmented matrix form. So this system of three equations in an augmented matrix form, step one, they have to be in standard form. So these already are X, Y, and Z, and then an answer. So they have to be in that order. If they're not, then you're not going to have the correct matrix and you're not going to get the same answer I do, and it'll be wrong. Okay, so make sure that your answers are in standard form. Then you're just going to set up your matrix. And I hope I have enough space here. And what you're going to do is you're going to have a matrix with the coefficients. It's just going to have the numbers, not the letters. But they're going to be in the right order so everybody knows where these numbers came from. So you're going to, for the first row, you're going to put the X coefficient, and then the Y coefficient, and then the Z coefficient. Now be careful, the negative comes with it. So that's -4, and then the answer is over here, and we're going to separate the answer from the problem with a dotted line. So this is all we do to set up an augmented matrix form. So the second line is going to be 3, and don't forget the negative, -5. If there's not a number in front of the variable, then the number is 1. And the answer is -4. See if you can go ahead of me. See if you can do the last row before I do. All right, so your first number is 2. Second number is -6. Third number is 3. And your answer is 2. This is an augmented matrix. So this is this system of equations in augmented matrix form. All right, you want to write that down just to remember, augmented matrix form. So if this is if I ask for augmented matrix form, I want something that looks like this. Now, let's do another one. You can do any size that you have. Now look at this one. You can see that you've got X and Y and then an answer. We don't have a Z, but that's okay because this is just this is just 2 equations, not 3. But in this one we only have Y. So what we need to do here is if we don't have a number represented, we have to represent it in your matrix. So if you've got X, Y, and answer, you need to have X, Y, and answer. So the X is 1, the Y is 3, and your answer is -2. All right, so on this one, you need to have an X and a Y and an answer. And if you look to see, there is no X. Now, if there's not a number in front of the X, that's 1. But if there is no X at all represented, then your answer is 0. And you have to fill in that 0 like a placeholder. All right? So if there is not, one of the variables is not represented, you need to fill in a 0. So then the Y is 5. And it matters where it goes. So these are the X's, these are the Y's, and these are the answers. Okay? So make sure just like in here, these were the X's, these were the Y's, these were the Z's, and these were the answers. Okay? So your answer is 8. So this is in augmented matrix form. Now, there's a certain type, and if we had more time in this quarter, we would do more of this, but I'm just going to show it to you this time, and I'm going to give you some that are in. This is Row Echelon Form is the name of this. Row Echelon Form, make sure that I'm pronouncing that correctly. Yes. Row Echelon Form is an augmented matrix that has ones in a diagonal with zeros under the ones. Okay? So this is Row Echelon Form. I think that's how it's spelled. Row Echelon Form, E-C-H-E-L-O-N. Yay, I did it. Check that out. Okay, so Row Echelon Form means we've got ones going diagonally from the top corner and zeros under those ones. Now, the reason this is handy is because once you've solved it this way, Now you know if these are the X's, these are the Y's, and these are the Z's, and these are the answers. You know already if these were equations, you already know that Z equals 5, because in this equation it just already says Z equals 5, because there's no X and there's no Y. So you already have one of your parts of your solution. All right. Once you have that, now you can plug this Z in back into this equation. This equation says there's 0 X's, there's 1 Y, so Y minus 5Z equals 7. Do you see where I'm getting these numbers? This equation said Z equals 5. This dot, dot, dot is the equal sign, and there's no X and no Y. So Z equals 5. This one is, there's no X, Y minus 5Z, there's your equals, 7. We already know that Z is 5, so we're going to put that in, zip, right here into the Z. So Y minus 5 times 5 equals 7. 5 times 5 is 25, so Y minus 25 equals 7. Add 25 to both sides. So Y equals, a big number, 32. All right, so, and did I do that right? All right, so now we're going to put 5 times 5. I did do that right. Okay, I did it wrong in my notes. That's why I'm kind of confused. Let's make sure. So this is Z is 5, Y minus 5. Oh, I didn't put it in. That's the problem. Okay, yes, I did it right here. Okay, so now we have Z and we have Y. Now we're going to take those two and we're going to plug them into this top equation. So this equation says X plus 2Y minus 4Z equals 5. So now we have Z will go in here and Y will go in here. And I don't know if I made this problem up or what. This is going to be a crazy big number, but it's okay. X plus 2 times 32 minus 4 times 5 equals 5. So did you see where I put that? So the 32 goes in for Y, and the 5 goes in for Z, and now I'll be able to figure out what the X is. So X plus 2 times 32 is 64, minus 20 equals 5. 64 minus 20 is what? So 44? Is that right? X plus 44, 40, 50, 64, yes, equals 5. So we're going to subtract 44 from both sides. So X equals a negative, I can't do this in my head. So minus 4, so 39. 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, yes. So now my final answer is X is negative 39. Y is 32. And Z is 5. Ta-da! So what happens is if I want you to solve a system in matrix form, I'll give you the augmented matrix in row echelon form, and this is all I want you to do. So you don't have to do any of that, any of the elimination. It's already been done for you. Remember to start at the bottom with the Z equals something and work your way upward. All right, and plug in what you know as you go. All right, one more type of problem. So if we were going to do more of these, and I was going to have you change these augmented matrices into row echelon form, you would need to do some of that elimination. And in order to eliminate things, what you want to do is you would want to change that into a matrix that has these ones. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to make you come up with the row echelon form, but I am going to tell you what the next step would be if you were to put it into row echelon form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an augmented matrix, and then I'm going to tell you I want you to do some some row operations. So row operations, you're going to multiply, add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this augmented matrix, and I want you to replace row 2, is what this means. Replace row 2, which is this one right here, with -2 row 1 plus row 2. Okay, so it really, all of these, it looks like gibberish. It really isn't. So what you're going to do is, what you're going to do is your answer is going to be this matrix with a different middle one. So your answer is going to look like this. You're going to have 1, 1, -2, 7. And then you're going to have 0, 4, 3, and 5. And row 2 is going to be something different. That's what you're trying to find. The way you're going to find that, and the reason I know that is because this says row 2. All right? Once you know, okay, this is what I want, what you're going to do, what you're going to put there is what you get when you take row 1, which is this one, row 1 times -2. Now, if you're going to multiply this by -2, that means you're going to multiply every part of what's in that row of that matrix by -2. So -2 times 1 is -2. -2 times this one is -2. -2 times -2 is a +4. -2 times 7 is -14. So that's -2 times row 1. So you took this row times -2 and you get this. Now I want you to add row 2. So I haven't multiplied it by anything, so you just take row 2, which is 2, and then 1, and then -2, and then 3, and it says to add them, so you're simply going to add them. -2 plus a 2 is 0, -2 plus 1 is -1, 4 plus a -2 is 2, -14 plus 3, the negative is larger, so it's going to be a -14 minus 3 because the signs are different. 14 minus 3 is 11. So this is the answer you're looking for. You're going to put that in right there. So 0, -1, 2, -11. All right? No problem. So the first thing you'll do there is look to see, okay, which row are you missing? And that's the one you're going to take out. And then what do I want you to do to find your new one? So find the row that you need to multiply and multiply by the coefficient, and then either add or subtract. And I think most of the ones that I'm giving you are addition. So add it to the other row. So these little sub numbers tell which row you're talking about. All right? You can do this. I'll see you soon.